The Las Vegas Raiders arrived at Minicamp with a purpose: to make a statement. While other teams in the league wrestled with contract holdouts and veteran absences, the Raiders entered camp fully intact. Every starter, every position group present and prepared. Even Colton Miller and Jacoby Myers, both in the midst of contract uncertainty, showed up without hesitation. That doesn't just demonstrate commitment, it's a declaration. Las Vegas is all in, and the message reverberates through the entire AFC West. This kind of unity is rare in the modern NFL landscape. Consider teams like the Dolphins and Commanders, both dealing with veteran standouts skipping mandatory workouts. The Raiders, only defensive lineman Christian Wilkins was absent, sidelined by foot rehab, and even he's expected back soon. Beyond injuries, the locker room is full, focused, and competing hard. And this approach matters. Consistency in attendance isn't about checking a box. It sets a tone. It shows a collective drive, a standard of accountability. That energy is infectious, and the Raiders are using it to define their identity early. Yet, attendance wasn't the only headline from camp. Amid the familiar faces and routine drills, several lesser-known players have captured attention and disrupted expectations. These aren't your star veterans. They're names that, until recently, flew under the radar, but their performance could shake up depth charts. Take Thomas Harper. Virtually no one anticipated his name would surface in practice reports, but here he is, quietly thriving. He's not imposing in stature, nor does he dominate headlines, but across drills he's flexing a range of defensive versatility. Aligned both at free safety and in nickel coverage, Harper is showing instincts, football intelligence, and adaptability. In a secondary still searching for definition, someone like him, flexible, reliable, position fluid, can become invaluable. Harper's emergence reflects a shift in the Raiders' defensive philosophy. Under Pete Carroll and John Spytek, there's a growing emphasis on versatility rather than prototype traits. They're willing to reward smart play over raw measurables. Harper may lack the traditional length of Carroll's Seattle-era backs, but his savvy and instinctive reads are proving just as valuable. As camp progresses, his name keeps popping up, and scouts and coaches alike are taking note. Then there's an even more unexpected storyline unfolding. Laki Tazi. Originally brought in as a defensive tackle, Tazi is now lining up as an offensive guard. That's right, he's switching sides of the ball. What might feel like a gimmick is actually strategic innovation. Tazi brings rare size and power, and the Raiders are exploring how his traits could be leveraged within creative packages or depth roles. With the International Pathway program allowing an extra roster slot, Tazi presents a low-risk developmental option with upside. This kind of out-of-the-box thinking isn't isolated. The Raiders are experimenting across the roster, testing potential conversions and versatility. They're auditioning hidden value, not just drafting for starters. Some lesser-known receivers are stepping up, reshaping perceptions from the bottom of the depth chart. Receiver Alex Bachman, previously a roster fringe player, is playing with renewed intent. In every route, he shows crispness, reliable hands, and clocked timing. He doesn't make highlight reel catches, but he makes the catch nobody else does. For players on the bubble, that level of consistency can be the difference between flashing on the 53-man roster or fading into free agency. Equally compelling is Colin Johnson, a towering 6'6" target. At first glance, he seems like a red zone asset. Big, tall, catchable. But beyond frame, his performance is marked by consistent, repeatable production. No splash plays, just reliable execution. In drills, that kind of dependable performance in contested areas can become a deciding factor in roster decisions. So we've covered safety versatility, offensive line innovation, wide receiver dependability, and that's only part of the story. Next up, yet another player causing waves, someone whose breakout may redefine expectations and physical boundaries at the position. Perhaps the most intriguing battle in Las Vegas right now lies in the trenches. The offensive line rotation is quietly becoming one of the defining competitions of minicamp, and at the heart of it is Dalton Wagner. The undrafted lineman is in a direct duel with Thayer Munford, fighting for what's likely the 9th and final offensive line spot. Wagner's size is unmistakable. He's massive, aggressive, and imposing. but it's his mentality that's impressing the coaching staff. He isn't just aiming to make the roster, he's trying to make it impossible to leave him off. The depth along the line is mostly set. The Raiders feel confident about their top 8, which means Wagner must be exceptional, not simply adequate to carve out a place. And that sense of urgency is showing in every rep he takes. He's grinding through every drill, holding his own against veteran defenders, and leaving an impression that could earn him a role when cut day arrives. Shifting focus to tight ends, another unexpected contender is emerging. Carter Runyon, a former Towson standout. Runyon doesn't have a traditional football background. His athletic roots come from the basketball court, and that cross-sport agility is translating on the field. He's raw, yes, but his fluid movement, ability to high-point balls, and catch radius are turning heads. Runyon doesn't yet have the polish of a pro tight end, but what he does have is something you can't coach: upside. And with the right development, he could evolve into a hybrid threat in the Raiders' offensive scheme. The linebacker room is another hotbed of competition. Rookie Jalen Walker is emerging as one of the most intriguing names in camp. His natural feel and coverage and ability to read plays quickly make him stand out. In a league where linebackers are often exposed in space, Walker's instincts and quickness allow him to cover ground and disrupt timing routes. He's also contributing on special teams, a critical factor for fringe players. Coaches are already taking note of how often he finds himself around the ball, and that's no coincidence. A veteran Jalen Smith, by contrast, brings leadership and a seasoned voice to the unit. He earned his minicamp invite the hard way, but his role is far from guaranteed. Smith's special teams value is limited, which might hinder his chances of surviving roster cuts. While he's shown solid fundamentals and effort, he must prove that he's more than just a veteran presence. The staff is evaluating whether he's part of the solution or simply a placeholder for younger, more dynamic talent. Another linebacker to watch is Michael Barrett. He doesn't come with hype, but he carries pedigree. Barrett is the winningest player in Michigan history. That kind of background brings professionalism, consistency, and discipline. He may not dominate in any one category, but his reliability and football IQ make him an appealing practice squad candidate. And in a crowded linebacker room, reliability can be the difference maker. While the offensive storylines grab headlines, the secondary is undergoing a quiet transformation. It's no longer just about stopping passes, it's about reshaping the unit's identity. And that identity is being forged by underdogs. Mello Dotson, an undrafted rookie from Kansas, is one such player. He doesn't possess elite speed or size, but his work ethic is unmatched. Every snap, every rep, he competes like his career depends on it, and it just might. Dotson has a nose for the football and a fire in his approach that's drawing attention. With a history of forcing turnovers in college, he's trying to prove he can bring that same ball-hawking instinct to the pros. Meanwhile, Greedy Vance Jr. is making his presence felt at the nickel corner spot. With Darnay Holmes facing inconsistency issues, Vance has seized the opportunity. He's showing a steady blend of football intelligence and coverage discipline, a result of his experience at USC. In a defense that values adaptability, Vance's ability to slide into various roles makes him a strong contender for a final roster spot. Yet the most significant change might be mental. Jacorian Bennett, finally healthy, has boldly declared himself the fastest corner on the team. That kind of confidence isn't accidental, it's cultivated. Bennett looks sharp, explosive, and locked in, giving the Raiders a potential breakout player in the secondary. Add in Jeremy Chin, rotating between safety and linebacker, and it becomes clear the Raiders are building a back end fueled by speed, flexibility, and aggression. And so as minicamp continues, the story of the Raiders is not just about stars executing plays, it's about unknowns rising, about a roster refusing to be static. These names may not be household yet, but if their momentum continues, they soon will be.